to the cloud. Not sure why it's not going live, but give me a second. So the way I'm going to do is I'm going to just chat and then I'm going to ask questions and see. It might only be a few of us on live, but hopefully now we are streaming. Let me just check all the devices, make sure it's all happening. And
it's saying on the screen you are, Nick.
I know, but I don't trust the screen.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I can see myself on my computer, so I'm good. All right. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's Changemakers call. Sorry for the slight delay in getting started, but it's actually one of the beauties of this business model is actually people are quite understanding that you're human, which is one of the reasons I actually decided to do this. So tonight I'm going to be talking about from money to meaning. And the way I would explain what that has meant for me, and I think for many of us, is I guess through education, through mimicking society, and just by default, many of us got into careers or got into pathways that we went down purely because of money. And we might have been slightly interested in certain things. So some of us have, started a job and then just kind of moved on through that. And at the beginning, we really enjoyed it. But there was a stage where we realized we were actually just doing it for the money. And I notice a lot of us, including myself, as you start having responsibilities like mortgages and for those that have kids and all these other type of things, it's quite easy to stay in that place for a lot of people because it's safe, it feels secure. You're not always happy where you're at work, but it's, I guess, manageable. And it's, it's okay because you've got that safety, the security, you've got a roof over your head. You can still go out and party and go out for meals potentially. And there's still a lot of things that you can do. But for some of us, including myself, you actually get to a point where you actually feel physically ill going to that job. And as I'm saying, this is not everybody's path, but for me, this is what happened to me. Every time I would go to work by the end, and this dragged on not just straight away because we generally ignore our body. We ignore the subtle hints it gives us. But I probably ignored this for 2 to 4 years, I would say, before I really, I did what most people probably shouldn't do, is I just walked out one day. I said, nah, done. And I left the percentage ownership of a company I had and just said, I don't want to be here anymore. I just can't do this. It's killing me. But the reality is it had been killing me for a good 2 to 4 years. And it got to the point where it was actually killing me physically in my body, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually, it was long before that I ignored those symptoms. And that's kind of what happens with us when we're chasing the money. And the thing that we're doing doesn't have meaning in all areas of life. And my old career was kind of directly opposite to what I'm doing now. Is I actually used to work in Surfers Paradise, managing club crawls and party tours. And it was okay when I was in my 20s. It was a fun job. There was lots of flexibility. We partied a lot. So we got to do lots of cool free things like jet boating and slingshots and get discounts at restaurants and things like that. And it was great. But as we evolve and as we change, sometimes we can get stuck on the way it used to be and ignore the way we actually feel now. And as well, one of the challenges that I faced is the way I looked at my old job is I actually felt that I was freer than most people. I lived quite close to work. It was a skateboard ride to work. I got great money. Saying that, the great money that I got then, I actually earn more than that now. So I'll kind of talk about that a little bit now. But, I thought, for me, I came from a single parent family, Department of Housing, so grew up with not too much money. And I thought, $80,000 a year for doing the work that I did, I thought that was pretty good. And it kind of ranged between 80 and a little bit more depending on commission bonuses. So I was comfortable. I thought I was successful. And for me, I was financially successful. I could pay my mortgage. I could buy my organic food. I still went on holidays. My life was pretty flexible, but there was something missing for me. But the first part that happened was I compared myself to others. I compared myself to, well, you know what, I'm a lot freer than most people. I actually have it pretty easy for what I do, chatting to people and having quite flexible hours. So I talked up what I had, even though like my mind was telling my soul that, hey, you've got it really good. Why would you stop doing this? Why would you get rid of this? Why would you move away from this? And that was the battle. And I don't know if anyone's ever heard this before, but the biggest journey we ever take in our life is from our head to our heart. And this journey just, I don't want to say it screws with us, but if we just listen to our hearts, and this is what I did with doTERRA. So when doTERRA came into my life, I felt the oils. And this was a really interesting thing. For those of you that know me now, like I'm a hugger. I love hugging. But there was a time in my life where I was cold. I didn't like that. I completely shut down my emotional body. And I was quite bitter with the world. So when doTERRA came into my life, it was a really interesting thing because I felt something and I didn't understand it. And again, understand that I'm a man. And as a man, we're really taught. Like I was lucky because I had a very empathetic spiritual mum. And so I was taught about feelings and feelings were okay. But through society and growing up, I was different to a lot of my mates because I could feel that. So I feel like I shut down that part of myself to fit in more. And what happened was when the oils came into my life, I felt myself again. And it was a subtle awakening. Many people go for the big awakenings, those people that follow the spiritual path, but the subtle ones are the greatest teachers. So subtly, I had a feeling that, wow, this is something special. And because I feel very blessed that I had done direct sales before I started in doTERRA. So I had been on commission only for, it was close to 10 years, but like a good 7 years when doTERRA came into my life. And I was very comfortable with commission only because I backed myself. I even bought my own home with commission only because I changed a few things around to look like I had a job for a little bit and then I could get my deposit and then I went back to commission only. But I was quite comfortable with working in that space. So when doTERRA came in and it was a business model around sales, I wasn't afraid of sales. I didn't completely understand network marketing. I was like everybody else. I kind of, thought network marketing wasn't the best path. Let's be honest, it's got a bit of a bad rap. And that was through a complete lack of education and a complete lack of open-mindedness. That's all it was. As soon as I did a little bit of research, even the taddest bit of research on network marketing, and saw the type of people that backed network marketing, like Robert Kiyosaki, one of my people that I admire, and started to witness people that were in network marketing and how they lived their life. Like, it was a complete game changer. So when I looked at the compensation plan, I honestly sat there and like, this is amazing because it's uncapped. That was the first thing that came into my mind. This is completely uncapped on my earning potential. Whereas where I had reached in my career, you know, for me, I felt like I had reached my cap in that environment. And the people that I was like in ownership with and partnered with, I'm still friends with them today. They're great people, but we just had a different way of looking at the way business worked. And I didn't feel that my expertise, my creativity could contribute in there any longer. So when I looked at doTERRA, I was like, wow, this is completely uncapped. And I honestly didn't think I'd probably get to where I was, where I am, but I also didn't disregard that if I stuck to something, I could get somewhere. And I could do better than where I was. And I could do something that made me feel good. And from that moment, the story from the head to the heart played for 2 to 4 years, where I didn't back myself. And even along my entire journey of doTERRA, which is coming on, I think 6 years now, maybe, I still would look at it and say, from those 6 years, if I'm being completely 100% honest, I probably backed myself for maximum a year out of those 6 years. And for the other 5 years, I've let this win. And I'm extremely happy of where I have got to, considering the sabotage pattern has ran most of the show. And for many of us, I don't think we acknowledge how much that plays in. One of the most important sayings that I ever heard was, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 10. So doing direct sales, I would talk to people, and within less than 5 minutes, I could have people giving me anywhere from $30 up to $200. And, you know, sometimes groups of 6 to 10 to 20 people handing me money to go on these events. So I got instant gratification. When I came into doTERRA, it's the complete opposite. I had to really sit and feel into that, because my whole life, and this is why I feel like I have such great contrast. I've never, for such a long time, I've never had a normal job. A normal job killed my soul. Like I think I've had a couple, but in my career, in my work, I've worked in Perisher Blue, at the Snow. I've been in the Army Infantry Reserves. I've worked in pub crawls in Vegas. I've worked bar jobs. I've worked as a courier driver. I've worked as a pizza delivery. I've worked so many different types of jobs, but I've never had what would be called a professional job, full-time career. So the contrast that I have is all these kind of random jobs, then going into complete direct sales where I earned and then I spent, and then I earned and then I spent. And if I wanted to make more money, I would go out there and I'd work really hard and then I would spend. What that created though for me was this really unhealthy relationship with money, where I spent more than I earned. And when doTERRA came in, one of the valuable lessons that I got to learn was, yeah, if I wanted to get quick money, I'd enroll people. But if I wanted to keep my customers, I had to treat them more than just a sale and actually treat them with the respect that they deserve and educate them and really tap into my, I guess, my coaching, my wisdom of the oils, supporting. And that's how I feel that I've replicated that as good as I can with my leaders to support their customers ongoing. Now, why is that this so important? Because many of us don't like sales because we don't want to be the sleazy salesperson that just sells somebody something and gets something out of them. Now, when I did the club crawls, I actually thought the party was a great time. So, and I would go out there with people and have a good time with them. So I actually, for the first kind of, I think 6 years, I really enjoyed what I sold. After that, when I didn't go on the parties and I didn't really have my heart in it, I was just selling something that I believed that they would have a good time, but it wasn't aligned with me. So when doTERRA came and I shifted to something that I aligned with, it was a really interesting journey for me because I really wanted to sell in the way that I had sold club crawls. I wanted to just tell everybody, oh my God, the oils are amazing, and just keep going at them until they got the oils. But I pushed a lot of people away because they still, and this will happen to all of us, and this is why I always tell people, stick with something and just stay with it. Because I had gone from one sales job to what most people thought was another sales job. So they classified me as a salesman. They didn't realize that I was selling actually from the heart. I actually was using the skill set that I acquired to really help the people that I felt needed these oils. So that was a really challenging part for me because people had created this story about me that I was just for the money and that I was trying to get something out of them. But I'd actually shifted from that money, which as I said, I had an unhealthy relationship with, because I had the relationship with where it was quick money and I didn't respect it, but I also did back my earning potential, moving into something that I really cared about. And I actually had a challenge in that scenario because I actually really lost a lot of confidence in myself because I was actually really wanting to help people for the first time. And it was really interesting because of the environment I'd been in Surfers Paradise. So if anyone's ever worked in the nightclub industry and, not just being a bartender, but kind of moved beyond that, you start to see, it's like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like everything's about money and status. And it's the ugly part of money. It's not the ethical part of money. It's not the nice part of money. So when I moved into doTERRA and I was wanting to do something with meaning, one of the problems that I actually faced was I actually disregarded money. I was like, and I hear this a lot with doTERRA, I'm not doing it for the money. That's such a common saying for a lot of people to say, I'm just not doing this for the money. I just want to help people. And what we actually do is, by disregarding money, we actually sabotage how many people we can help. Because the reality is, the more resources we have, the more we come from a full cup, the more people we can actually help. And that's where I really had to, again, this head to the heart story that I'd created, that sabotaged me so much. And I can see it in myself because I had such a clear thing where I was so easy with sales. And then I moved into this meaning thing and I pushed away money. But there's so many people that when they start their own business and they start receiving income from their friends and their family and their loved ones, that they actually feel really uncomfortable about it. And they kind of have them as total polar opposites, but actually they're part of the same cycle. And the more we respect money, and the more I think the thing we have to understand is when we are aligned with ourselves and we know who we really are, because we've all lost ourselves, and we've, shut down parts of ourselves or let parts of ourselves not be seen. And then when we reconnect with ourselves and we're ethical people, we with money will do good things. But what we do is we create a story around money that a lot of us have, that money is bad because people who have too much power do bad things with it. But that's, if a good person or an ethical person or a conscious person, whatever word you want to put to it, has a lot of money, they do a lot of good things. They do a lot of great things. They do a lot of magnificent things. And one of the experiences that I personally had was when I sat beside Andy Goddard, who's one of our uplines in doTERRA. And this was probably a year or two into my doTERRA journey. And we're at a table that he'd paid for the dinner. And I think I was a rising leader. I think I was maybe premier or maybe elite. I'm not sure. And I was sitting beside, he would have been either, I think he has a presidential diamond or something like that back then. And he was the first person that I met, was like, he was probably, their business now is worth over, I think, $1 billion or $500 million, something like that. It's an unfathomable amount. They have 1 million people in their team. But then I think they had something like maybe 300,000 or 200,000. And I remember sitting beside him and everyone was just chatting to him, and he was so calm. He didn't mention money. He didn't show his money. He was just humble. And I was like, wow, now that's what wealth is. And I experienced wealth, and the way I look at wealth is it's people spell wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H. But if I feel it's wealth, like W-E-L-L-T-H. He was a well individual who was connected to himself. He was humble, and he was wealthy, and he was such a nice person. And I just remember sitting there going like, I didn't even know these type of people existed. I thought this was fairy tale stuff. I thought as soon as you got to a certain level of money, you became an a-hole and you thought you were better than everyone else. And for me, I'm constantly reminded with doTERRA how great the people are. And I honestly think it stems from the founders, that they've attracted certain types of people. And the meaning that I've got from doTERRA has been the most meaningful journey I've ever had in my entire life. I've met incredible people. I've learned more about myself. I've had to move through these stories that hold me back from my dreams. I've had to pick myself up when I wanted to give up. I've had the biggest heart-opening experiences in my life, like going to Nepal for a Healing Hands trip to build the school. Was the experience you can't even explain. When we were at Nepal and that we got welcomed into that village after we had driven for 7 hours, and there was thousands of people, some of them had walked 5 hours to get there. We were all looking at each other, and our bodies physically couldn't take how much love was being poured into us. We didn't know what to do. We felt so undeserving and so, I guess not good enough. But these people saw us as absolute saints. They were so grateful for everything that doTERRA had done, and for us to come to their village to help build that school and to meet the community. And to me, this is what meaning is all about. It's the experience of feeling. It's feeling the good and the bad, because it's all part of life. It's riding the waves. It's understanding that it's okay not to be okay. It's understanding that your plan doesn't go to plan. and that you can adapt and you can evolve and you can grow and you can dream. And this is, I guess, what my journey has been. It's allowed me to dream again. My mind gets in the way when it doesn't go as fast as I want it to. But all it means is when you're not going as fast as you want to do, you just have to accept that somewhere inside you, you're not ready for that level of love or that level of magic that you deserve. And all we have to do is shift through that and peel off those layers. And sometimes those layers have been stuck on for so long that we don't even know that they're there. And we can blame everything outside of us for why it hasn't gone to plan. So for those out there that are watching the recording later or in the group, or if you've got anyone you know, tag them in the Facebook group because that's where I put it in. If you're really looking for feeling again, feeling alive and getting to know yourself and growing and into places that you didn't even know existed and feeling magic in life again, this is my experience with doTERRA. I would never have got to where I am today without doTERRA. I tried small business on my own. I tried different business models and it didn't work for me. This is the only one that I have found that, number one, the product's so damn good that everybody wants it and consistently uses it. The compensation plan actually really rocks and is designed for long-term sustainability. And this is why you have to get past this, because at the beginning, with a job, you just go to work, you get paid. For me, I was at the complete other extreme, which I would literally get paid cash in hand that day. But for most people, they go to work, they get paid their weekly wage or their monthly wage, and that's it. And they're capped at how much they're worth. But they get it relatively quick. They get that instant gratification. With doTERRA, you're building a business. You're building yourself a pathway. You're building yourself a life. And there is a time frame where you're investing more time and resources into your business and you're not getting what you deserve. But when you get to a level like me and many other leaders, you wake up every day going, how do I deserve this? How do I actually deserve this? Where I can do what I want when I want, but what I want to do is what I'm actually doing. It's such an interesting feeling. And it's so weird because I love work so much that I sometimes feel guilty for working. It's a really weird feeling. It's like, wow, I'm working. And like I don't have to, but I love to. And I work I respect my body, and there's times where I've been out of alignment, where I've worked too much and I've sacrificed myself. But again, that's another layer to peel back. And now I'm at that point where I listen to my body, but I also listen to my heart. So when I need to rest, I rest, but I'm still moving forward. I'm still doing what I need to do to get to my goals and dreams. But at the same time, I'm also experiencing my goals and dreams on a daily basis, because I don't think my goals and dreams are outside of me. It's like, me and Amy just bought a house. That's pretty cool. That's a big experience for us. And that will add another level of freedom and experience for us to grow in our relationship and be in more alignment with who we are. But, even if we didn't buy that house, even if we didn't get to that goal that we'd been working towards, we have to make sure that we look at everything along that path, and we're enjoying the little mini victories. We're enjoying the moments, not so much enjoying, we're feeling the moments of challenge, and we're feeling everything. And if we actually give ourselves the permission to feel everything, like everything, that's when the magic happens. It's on the other side of that. Whereas most of us, as soon as we start to feel uncomfortable, stretched, like we're failing, like we're not going to get there, or thwarted, or, whatever words you want to, the hero's journey, where, you're the victim and you're hard done by, and all these stories. We need to feel all of them and just allow them to be. And then when we actually allow them to be and we sit with it, it dissipates. And when it dissipates, on the other side of that is where we've always been, which is purely at peace and purely just in love with life as a creation of God or creation of spirit, whatever you want to call it. And when you accept that money and meaning are a part of that, if you desire money and you desire a meaningful existence, they are part and one of the same thing. Everything that your heart truly desires can come to you. It's just that we don't believe it. And when we move through that and allow that and sit in that, then it just keeps getting better and better. So if anyone wants to go down that type of path, then doTERRA is an incredible journey. And I would recommend reaching out to your upline, whoever introduced you to doTERRA. If you don't, they're not doing it anymore, or you don't know if they're doing the business, just send a message to me or tag me in a post or tag one of the other leaders that you know. And we can, I guess, show you what it's all about. And I think the most important thing is, if you love the oils and you know that people will benefit from them and you want to share and you kind of feel yourself in that space, then it's either going to be for you or it's not going to be for you. But if you never try, if you never give it a go, you'll never know. And I'm so glad that at that time, working in a club crawl in Surfers Paradise, someone who was adrenally burnt out, unhappy, depressed, sick, and not wanting to be on this planet anymore, I actually listened to my heart and followed this tiny little light that was barely there. And even though out of those 6 years, I'm saying I've only backed myself probably maximum 1 year. In that such an in deep sabotage plan process, I've still created something that was better than I could ever have thought of. So thanks for listening. Hopefully you have all felt something and experienced anything. I'll just on the Zoom, it's only Narelle. Is there any questions you have before I turn this off? I'm just going to go on the live on the group to see if anyone's got any questions. Do you have any questions, Narelle?
I'd just like to thank you, Nick, for sharing your story. I've been so looking forward to hearing your story as well. And because I know that you sort of struggled when you first took on the business and you just completely left your job and you sort of had a bit of a struggle. So it's really great for me to hear that, because I'm at the same particular point in my life right now. So I've just gone through an amazing journey, with my health. I totally now understand, the importance of being happy, the importance of doing what is really important to you, and sharing my passion and what I absolutely love is my doTERRA business. And now I'm getting, stronger and healthier now that I can do that. And that's all I want to do. So I'm going through a transition period now, thinking, oh, geez, what do I do? To sort of let go of my old life, to bring in my new life. And that's sort of a bit of a struggle as well, like you said, with your head and your heart. I'm looking at things, well, what do I need to let go of? What are things that I can free up myself financially to make that happen as well? So I'm sort of, it is tough.
It is
So,
challenging, and that's the thing is
yeah.
we actually have to become adults around money, and we
Mm,
have to make decisions of like, I want this, but every time I spend money on this, I have to stay in that old role. So
that's
the
right.
one of the freest moments I was at was, what was I earning? I think I was earning $500 a week. Okay. And I could just pay my rent, just pay my bills and my food and my debts. And I remember on a Friday in the middle of the day, it was a great day outside. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to go to the beach. And I had, because Fridays was always a busy day in my old job because it was Friday, getting ready for Friday night, Saturday night parties. And I just remember being at the beach going, wow, I'm at the beach in the middle of the day on a Friday. I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. I have food in the fridge. I'm paying all my responsibilities. Yeah, I can't travel and yeah, I can't buy any nice clothes or anything like that, but I'm happy.
Mm,
And that's what we have to look at. There is a transition period, and the transition period is tough because you might not be earning what you need to basically survive, but you also might be spending money that doesn't need to be spent. And that's where you have to look. Do I need Netflix? Do I need this? Do I need all these things? And
yeah.
and we start to really look at it, and then there's a shifting point, and it might be that you have to. I had to go back to my old job for a little bit and not be the manager and just work commission only sales. And it was really interesting because every time I went back, majority of the time I went back, I actually couldn't make any money there anymore because my heart wasn't in it. So I'd
Mm,
stand there all day and make $0. And in my 7 years or so of doing it, I think it was very rare for that to ever happen to me. And I think once I'd had it 3 days in a row, and that never happened to me in my entire life. And I was just, I'm just not supposed to be here. So then my soul, whatever, figured it out to make more money in doTERRA because I wasn't making exactly what I needed. Um, and it's a
exactly.
balancing act.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm at the same point. You
yeah,
know, my heart and soul is not where I'm at with my job, and I'm trying to return back to work, and I'm absolutely not loving it at all. So,
but it's also can be a means to an end, and we have to be real about things. And
mm,
you, as long as you create an exit strategy, if
yeah,
you putting a cross on a calendar every day, and you're getting closer to not being there,
yeah,
great.
yeah,
And then it might be 6 months longer than you hoped, or it might be a year longer than you hoped. But the thing is, where most people get stuck is they never create that plan. So they just go to work every single day, get to like 50, 60, 65, go, oh, should have done something about this.
that won't be me at
And the
all.
thing is, when even I say that,
Mm,
you know, inside your body, there's a determination that's like, no, that's not
yeah,
my path.
exactly. Like I'm
So
in,
that yeah,
yeah,
go
just going
ahead.
to let go of things. Like, I'm going to sell my boat. I've got 2 houses. Do I actually need 2 houses? I'm thinking I have to let go of things to create the life of my dreams. And that's how committed I am to building my business.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
There's even like with me, like I would Airbnb rooms out at my place, and I would Airbnb things like, you know, to bring in extra cash flow, and I would like even now, like we could at the moment, me and Amy only have one car. I'm going to buy another one because as what we're moving to now is we're probably two will be more helpful for us. But
mm,
we were like, it actually came to us. The universe was like, well, okay, we've only got one undercover car spot. And then we were like, do we really need 2 cars? And we're like, I actually don't think we do.
yeah.
So there's things that you can release. And when you
Right.
release, you open up more space.
And
And
that's exactly what I think too is I'm actually freeing up space for more to come in. It's
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
And the happier we are, it's simple universal vibration. Your vibration attracts your tribe,
Yeah.
and your story attracts your tribe. One thing that people forget is they forget about their story. We think, like, when I was struggling with my health, I was like, how can I really talk about health? But each day I was feeling better. I didn't look like a supermodel, but each day I was actually feeling better inside myself. And people can notice that because most people have shut off their feeling senses.
Yeah.
People start to be drawn and gravitate towards you. And yeah. So I'm just going to see if there's any other question in here. No. All right. Yeah. It's incredible. I love every part of it. And there's parts of it that I hate it. You got to be real about it. And one of the other pieces of advice was from Deb Husbands. And she said, you can give up on any day except a bad day. So you give up on the day where you've just rank advanced. Give up on the day where you've just got your biggest check ever. You give up on your day where you've just enrolled a superstar builder. Give up on a day where one of your friends gives you a life-changing testimonial, and even if they don't give you a testimonial, you can see their happiness and their life force. You can see it, you can feel it. You give up on those days, it can't happen because there's so many of them. There's so many of them, and sometimes we forget about it. And it's really good. This is why, as much as I'm not a big fan of social media, Facebook Memories is pretty great when you look through and you can see where you've been.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah. So anyways, it's time for me to
go. All your insights, Nick. I've absolutely loved hearing your story, and
thank you for coming on. And I've loved witnessing your story as well. Like, I've watched you, even the brief moments that I've witnessed you, like, I've seen you grow so much inside yourself. And that's something to be really proud of. And we all need to be really proud of our journeys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And people respect that. People respect that we've had a go and we've really shifted through some things, and we've really faced ourselves. We've faced our fears. We've faced our demons. And that's what makes us leaders.
Yep.
Even when we're not ready.
Absolutely.
As soon as we allow that we're leaders, then people will come, because people, when they start out on their journey, they need leaders. They need someone to go first. And that's where we're all at. We're the people that go first for somebody else.
Exactly.
And then they start their journey into their new life, their improved life. And my last thing I'm going to say, and they always ask in doTERRA leadership conferences, who here would be here even if there was no business opportunity attached to doTERRA? And you turn around and everyone's got their hands up. And that shows you how good this product is, how good the oils are, how good Mother Nature is, and how good the ethics of doTERRA is. And when you feel into that and you understand that, then you know in your heart that this is the right space for you. And
absolutely,
you just get it so deeply. And yeah, I don't even know how. I don't even have any other words to.
Look, I totally get it, Nick, because this is just everything in my heart is just doTERRA. That's it. And this is my life journey now. It's and that's it. This is my future, and all I need to do is just work through, just letting go of the old and bringing in my new life. And that's absolutely what I'm going to do. And it's my total focus, and I'm quite prepared to let go of a lot of things. And I think, if I have to do that while I'm trying to build my business, I'm quite prepared to do that as well. So yeah, I'm totally committed.
Yeah. And also, you've got to remove the. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tip. I know you haven't asked for help, but I'm going to give you a little unsolicited advice. If
Okay.
you got it, you are building your business. You're not trying to build your business. You are building your business. And many of us look at that where we're not making as much money as we like, that we're still trying. We are building a business.
Yep.
Most businesses don't make any money. If you had a bricks and mortar business right now and you were having to shut down because the government told you had to shut down and you still had to pay your rents, most
Right.
businesses don't survive the first 2 years. And it's like 90% don't survive the first 2 years. And the other 10% that do survive, 9% of the other 9%, they don't last the following 2 years.
That's right.
So
And
the thing is, we're custodians for Mother Nature.
yep.
Mother Nature needs salesmen and women. That's what it needs. There's salesmen and women for everything else in the world, but Mother Nature needs us to show the humanity, the power of it.
That's right.
The vibration of it, the love of it. And that's what we're doing. We're just connecting ourselves back to nature. And we need salesmen and women that are ultimately custodians for nature. And we need to be brave enough to move through our own stuff to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it's through people too.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on. And yeah, you guys all rock.
Well,
Peace.
thank you very much. Okay. Bye.